Before a actual session, do you have any questions, guys? Today will be the last free session. So Monday onwards, we are going to be start the paid lectures. So you can proceed with the payment once you are happy with these classes. So you can approach our team or else you can pay in the app directly as well. Okay. Meanwhile, if anyone have a questions, maybe you can ask me.
Morning, everyone. For time being, if we maybe any questions related to payment, any questions related to this specific course, um, if still anyone has some doubt or maybe has few questions, right? So please feel free to ask. We'll wait for a few more minutes and then maybe we'll slowly get started.
No questions, team? No one have any questions?
Yes, maybe they might have questions in between or at the end of the session. Anyways, I'll go through it,
Sure,
Mahesh.
Ritesh, sure. You can
Yeah,
carry on. Thank you.
thank you. I'll start the recording as well. Okay, fair enough. Just give me a few seconds. I'll start sharing my screen. Let me know once the screen is visible.
Yes, Ritesh.
Yeah, it's visible.
Good. Now, you might have many questions. May not be technically, but non-technically. I mean, what is this course about? Or probably you might have many questions with respect to technically what we are discussing, right? So let's try to discuss it at the end of the session. Anyways, I'll try to close it by 9:15, so we still have last 15 minutes to discuss all the questions, right? Or maybe you have any uh, doubt also. We'll try to have a discussion on that. Now, with continuity of yesterday's discussion, we have just started with the different languages which are available inside a SQL. Now, how a DDL looks like. DDL is what more about it's creating, right? If you want to create something or if you want to write something, it's more about creating. So how do we write that queries? How do we justify that information? We have to write with the help of data definition language. I'm just verifying why that query is not particularly saved. This is 24. There is a 26 as well. Ah. So Data definition language is more about structure, right? If you want to create any specific structure, structuring of any specific component, if you would like to have, it's more about structuring. Now, data manipulation is nothing but once the structure is available, you want to manipulate any data, you want to add any data, you want to modify any data into that specific structure, already built-in structure. In that case, it's manipulation language. And you want to only check that, okay, how the structure looks like, what all records are present in it, only you want to display that particular information. It is more about data query language. Now, we missed a small part. Now, what's that small part, right? Number, while installing, you might have seen there are a few components which gets installed with this particular SQL workbench or MySQL workbench, right? It has a server, it has the client studio as well, which is your workbench, and some other components which gets installed. Now, the very big question is, if you are communicating with a database, we use the SQL language, but how that communication goes through, right? So how a specific communication goes through. Is it directly that, okay, if you're trying to write a query, does it directly go and does it directly fetch that information? No, there are different architectural methods which a SQL follows, rather database follows. So SQL is just a language, right? Moreover, how databases are structured, how the communication happens with a normal human being and a database, we will try to understand that. Maybe that's only a 5 minutes recap, but we haven't discussed this part. So in databases, there are three different architectural systems, right? So if you have to understand the architectural systems, what an architectural systems is, database is nothing but where the information is stored, right? A particular information, a particular data is stored is called as a database. So if you're managing that database, how to manage, there are certain rules and regulations. So we are going through all that rules and regulations, right? The languages are nothing but your rules and regulations only. So we are slowly going through all these rules and regulations. So managing of the database is called as database management system. A person who manages it, a person who handles it, it is nothing but your a data architect or maybe a database developer, right? There are different rules. There is a database tester as well, but tester roles are very limited with respect to data. Moreover, developer roles, architect roles, right? These roles are more into data related aspects. Now, in database management systems, as I've said, a person who uses and a person who manages this has to understand there are three different types of architectures. Now, how the communication happens, right? That also we need to understand. So communication happens via a mode in the sense, like if you want to connect your friend, you try to dial from a mobile. So it goes through certain network, then that network again connects via same option which you have dialed to a particular person, right? So same way, if you're trying to communicate with a database, it will have a mode of transaction, it will have a mode of communication. So there are three different types of architectures: one tier, two tier, and three tier. Now, there is no two tier also. It's very rare. One tier is totally not, I mean, it's not nowhere available, one tier architecture. Now, most of the current architectures, most of the database systems which we are using currently are all three tier architectures, right? Now, what is three tier? There are different tiers here, three tiers, three times, right? Three times, or maybe there are three different layers. One is your server, one is your client. I mean, that's what we have seen. But the way it communicates via server and client, the mode between server and client is your communication channel, right? This is your communication channel. So that communication channel is your third component. Server is your first component. Client is your second component, but in between client and server, there is a communication channel which will act like a communication medium, right? If you write a query, it goes through application client. Now, if I give you a brief highlight again, right? Now, if you consider this specific information, whenever a person tries to write a query, right? So if a person is trying to write a specific query, here is the user. So he'll write a query here. Whatever query he's trying to write or whatever query we are trying to write, he'll write a query. Now that query will always go back to the application client. So what is this application client? This application client is a checkbox, or maybe you can consider it will do the unit testing. Testing means what? Whether you have written a right query or not. If the query is correct, it goes through communication channel. This is your communication channel. And this communication channel is a bi-directional channel because from a user, it goes through server and also server, it comes back to user. So it's a bi-directional channel. It is not always unidirectional because if it's a unidirectional, there will be only input, there will be no output, or there will be no input, there will be only output, which is not correct, right? So this communication channel is your bi-directional information. This is your communication channel, and this is bi-directional. It always flows both the ways. And then it goes to the server. What server will do? Again, server will check whether there is a database which that person is trying to call. And in that database, whether the tables are there, whether the records are there. If the table is there, if the records are there, it will again communicate with this application server. It will do that bi-directional transformation of information. It will again display that information to the user. So this is three-tier architecture. This is your first tier, this is your second tier, and communication channel is your third tier. Three-tier architecture. You should always recall that whatever databases we are using, all that databases in current world uses this three-tier architecture. Earlier, there was one tier and two tier. There were many limitations also. And that's how any product evolves, right? Slowly, if you're trying to improve something in any specific aspect you consider, maybe not only in IT, but if you are considering any specific aspect or any specific condition, wherever a product is launched, if it has certain limitations or drawback, slowly that limitations and drawback will be overcalled. They'll be updated, right? So same happens with the database. Databases were not appropriate earlier, but with the latest changes, latest updates, slowly it became three-tier, it became bi-directional, and the information flow, the communication channel is very much faster now. So this is very important, right? What is DBMS? A person who manages databases is called as DBMS, or maybe a person, how that management happens, right? That is called as database management system. And it has three different levels of architecture. The three-tier architecture is the best one, or which is most widely used in current world. Now, again, let's switch back to whatever discussion we were doing with respect to queries, right? So as and when I'm trying to write a query, it goes through channel, it goes through server. Server will respond, server will check. If it is available, it will again respond in the bi-directional way. It again comes through communication channel. It gets displayed here. So all that process happens continuously, right? You may not be able to see this, but it all happens in the background. That's how the three-tier architecture works. Now, with respect to query writing, right? Now, yesterday we have seen how do we create a database? How do we use that database? Whenever you open this MySQL workbench on everyday basis, it is always recommended to use that command called as use database. Now, you cannot write use database, right? Use the name of a database. It's not a definition. See, whenever you want to define anything, then you need to mention that I want to create a database. I want to create a table. So the structure which you want to create, you have to mention that structure and the name of that structure. But if you want to use already created structure, you can directly call that structure name. There is no requirement of calling what is that structure and what is the name of that structure, right? So for the first time, if you're opening this SQL workbench on everyday basis, it is always recommended to use this command, use database, because inside this database, I would be writing all my queries. Now you see, it is highlighted in the black. So now you can go back and again write your queries, whatever queries we want. Now, we have seen how to insert a data. We have seen how to display data. Display in the sense how to select some columns or how to select all the columns, how to select everything under a particular table, select star and display it. Now, insert is one of the statement, but along with insert, there are many other commands, like along with create also, there are many other commands. So let's try to understand these commands. So there is a command, right? If you have inserted some records to a particular table, so let me display this. Right, we have inserted few records to this particular table. Now, I've only displayed 2 columns. If you want, we can end up displaying more than 2 columns, right? Select star. If you want to display all the columns from a particular table, we can display all that columns as well. Now, in a condition, if I have inserted some records, the name is getting repeated. The name is not correct, right? The name is not appropriate. We have randomly inserted the records. But if I want to delete the records also, there are records. If you are inserting that records, we also can delete that records. So how do we delete that records? How do we manage that deletion of a record? So for delete also, there is a command called as delete. If it is inserted, you can delete, right? So there is a command called as delete. But there are few condition checks which we have to follow. If you are using a delete command is by default not enabled in any databases. It is not by default enabled. You have to enable that. Now, how do I enable it? There is a command which is used to enable delete operation. Why? Again, we will discuss why that delete operation is by default not enabled. There are certain conditions where you have to follow while using this delete. But if you want to use this delete, for sure, it is not enabled in any MySQL workbenches or any SQL. So you have to enable it via this query, set SQL underscore safe underscore updates equal to 0. Now, why is it equal to 0? We will again discuss that. But let's first run this command. Now, for me, it is the delete command is enabled, but still I'm running this. So make sure you also use this command. Now, why is it not enabled? I'll let you know. So if I write delete, I'm trying to write delete. Now, what you want to delete? I want to delete the records from the table. I want to delete the records from the table. So I'll directly mention delete, and from where you want to delete, from a particular table, right? This particular table. I'll just mention this. Delete from this particular table. Now, this table has 3 records, right? This particular KSR table has 3 records. So if I want to delete everything, you can blindly follow this delete. Delete from table. See, you are not mentioning that which record you want to delete. I want to delete everything from that table. You can blindly write this query. And if I run this, delete 3 rows affected. That means if I again go back and run this select statement, there won't be any record available inside this table. Why? Because you have just mentioned that I want to delete from that table. So whatever is present in that table, everything will be deleted. Now, a big question mark. If there are 3 records, if the number of values are getting repeated, that's the reason we have deleted it. Now, if you are into a project, that project has an important table. In that table, there are some thousands of records or maybe some lakhs of records. Now, if you blindly use this delete statement and delete from that particular table, everything is gone. Right? All that thousands or lakhs of records were inserted with all the latest updates, maybe last 4 years, 5 years of information is present. And within one single statement, you have deleted everything. So that is the particular reason delete is not enabled in any databases. If you're working as a data analyst, rarely you will get delete access. You will get insert access. You will get some create access also, but delete access is not available for every user. You can manage the accesses, individual queries, individual language access can also be managed in SQL. We will discuss that as Well, going further, right? So there is a language called as data control language, and transaction control language. These control languages are with respect to how to give access to the user or which queries should be available to that user. So whenever you are using delete, there is a special condition which you have to use. That special condition is you have to enable that delete, set SQL safe updates equal to 0. 0 means off. SQL is safe. I want to make it off. That means I can go back and delete if I want to do some deletion. Now, is it that if the delete is not enabled, you can enable it, that's fine. But once you enable it also, it is not recommended to use delete like this. Because if you use delete like this, everything will be deleted. Okay, if you want to delete everything, you can go with this. But I only want to delete few set of records. Maybe not all the records which are available in the table. In that case, there is a condition called as where. As I've said, SQL is all about English, right? If you're good in English, you can understand the SQL queries very easily. So if you want to communicate, if there are a group of 10 people, right? You're working in a project. If there are a group of 10 people, you want to communicate with a person named as Ritesh. So in that case, if I want to communicate with Ritesh, what you will do, you can directly say, right? I want to communicate with the person Ritesh. So you'll call his name. So in case of delete also, if you want to delete a particular record, you have to call that record. How do I call that record? Now, for now, there are no tables. There is a table, but there are no records. So what I'll do, let me try to insert few records and I'll take different values, right? So I'll take different values. So I'm trying to insert these records into a particular table. Say I can run all these 4 commands together because I've selected this and I've written the queries correctly. I'll run this. Now for every command, there is a warning. That's fine, right? Warning is not a big deal. It will be inserted. So if I just go back, now what I'll do, I'll display everything because I don't want to skip that between column also, the ID column as well. I'll display everything. Right, so we have 4 records. Now, what I would like to do is I would like to delete a record, but the IDs are getting repeated. Okay, that's fine. We'll try to change that IDs maybe next time. But if I want to delete a single record, what I want to delete, I want to delete a record where the record contains data vision. The name of that record, the column name contains data vision. I want to delete that record. So in that case, if you want to delete that record, if you directly write this delete, everything from the table will be deleted, right? Which is not correct. So I only want to delete a record where the name column contains data vision. So what I will do, I'll write this delete from KSR table. Let me copy this. Let me paste it as a new query. And I will write a condition that where I want to delete a record from a table where name equal to, now whenever you are writing any string value, see, if you want to insert a string value also, it should be in inverted commas. Only string value has this compulsion. Even if it's a date, you can directly mention a date. I might have written it in inverted comma just to make sure that, okay, the date, the condition, the date functionality is correct. But if I don't mention the inverted commas also, date will be inserted. Inverted commas are only compulsory for character data type. You can mention it for any data type also, but recommended is it is compulsory for character. So it is not only for insert if you want to have a condition written for it. Like I'm writing a where condition where name equal to, I want to delete a record where name is equal to data vision. I want to delete this record. Now, if I run this query, there is a difference between the first query and second query. If I run this query, only one record will be deleted because it is matching that. I'm writing a filter condition. This is a filter condition, right? I'm trying to filter, right? I'm trying to delete a record, but with a filter condition. What is that filter condition? Filter condition is where name equal to data vision. Now, again, if I go back and write a select statement, only that particular record will be deleted. Now, most of the times, even if you learn SQL in a hurry, if you are a data analyst, if you're a data engineer, in a hurry, what happens is we may never add any where condition with this delete. And by chance, if you directly mention delete from a table, everything will be deleted. So that is the primary reason no direct delete access is given to any developer except if that person is an architect, because architect level people are very calm. They do, I mean, they don't have this all burden on them, right? You have to complete, you have to complete. Usually developers are the one who are front facing people, right? Who work a lot. So architects will get this full permission of delete, whereas for a data analyst, delete access is restricted. But even if you have a delete access, you have to always remember delete without a filter condition is very dangerous, because it might end up taking your job as well, right? If you delete anything from a 2 3 tables, or maybe even one single table which has millions of records, nothing. But right, for every drawback there is a option, right? Even if you delete, there is an option to recall that, right? That's how SQL evolves, that's how any product evolves. They have made sure that if there are still people who come up and delete all the records, you can still recall that records. That all options are available. But still, it is always recommended that never ever use delete directly unless you feel you want to delete everything from the table. Always use a filter condition with a where. Where is nothing but a clause. In SQL, there is a component called as clause. So clauses will have where clause. Where is a filter condition. Now, is it that where will work on one column only? No, you can use where on multiple columns as well, or in whichever column we want. I've used where on the name column, but if I use where on ID column, right? If I'm using where on ID column, like I'll mention this particular table where ID equal to, and for ID, it is not recommended to mention inverted commas, but it is always good to write because we are writing one single value, right? So if I mention 1 2 3, and if I run this particular statement, all 3 records will be deleted. Why? Because for all the 3 records, the ID is 1 2 3 only. Right? The ID is 1 2 3. So if I display anything, everything will be deleted. If I display anything, everything
Ritesh,
will be.
if
Hmm.
we have that and symbol,
Hmm.
and I mean ID equals to 1 to 3, and that before what you did, right? Where name equals to data vision.
We can have multiple conditions.
Oh,
Now, as I've said, I've only kept one condition here because it is matching. Every record is matching with the ID 1 to 3. All 3 records got deleted. So you need to add 2 conditions in that case. If I again insert these records, let me insert and let me come down that I want to delete from a particular table where ID equal to 1 2 3, and you're English, right? How do you communicate in English? The same way you have to write a query. And name equal to, I'm writing multiple conditions. Let's see if this will work or not. Where name equal to, say I'm writing 2, where ID is equal to 1 2 3 and name equal to data vision. Now, if I run this query, only one record is getting deleted because only one record matches with that condition. ID 123 is there for all three records, but name data vision is only for one single record.
So here there is no symbol for and, right? Ampersand or for or.
We can use ampersand as well.
Okay.
We can use. But if you're writing the query, it is always good to write and condition rather than going with symbol. Symbolic representation is there. But if you are a very good in SQL, you understand basics of SQL very good, you can write queries, good amount of queries, then in that case, you can go with special symbols. Now, this is all about delete. Now, delete is what? We are changing the records inside a table. We are not changing the structure of a table, right? If you delete anything from a table, records are getting deleted. Table is remain. I mean, table will stay as it is, right? It's still it is as it is. So we are not changing the structure. We are changing the components which are present inside that structure, like modifying the table. In that case, modifying in the sense not table, the records in that table. So delete is also a data manipulation language command. We are manipulating the data. We are not changing the structure of a table. We're just changing the records present in that table. So delete is also data manipulation language. It's not a data definition. We are not defining anything, right? Now, if I want to change the structure, right? Structure in the sense I've created a table. Name is there, ID is there, date of birth is there. But what I would like to do, if I'm using a delete, delete will only delete the records, but I want to completely delete the table also. That I don't want the structure of a table to be present. Everything should be deleted. Records in that, including columns and whatever table we have created, all that should be deleted. In that case, delete statement will not work because it is only manipulating the data. But if you want to completely remove the structure of a table, delete the structure of a table, in that case, there is a statement called as, or there is a condition, right? There is a query or there is a function called as drop. Drop, and what you would like to drop. See, it's a data definition language. If you are using any DDL statement, if you want to create table. If you want to create some database, create database. If you want to drop some table, you need to mention drop table and the name of a table. If you directly mention the name of that component here, not the component, DDL will not work, right? Now, what is that? If I directly mention like this, drop KSR table, whether this query will work or whether the above query will work. The below query itself, it is directly giving you error. It is not valid at this position. Why? Because drop is a data definition language statement. You are dropping the structure of a table, right? The table itself you want to drop. Delete will delete the records inside the table. It will not change anything in the table structure will remain as it is. But if you want to drop the structure of a table itself, you have to go with this drop statement. But drop is a data definition language. And in data definition, you need to mention what component you would like to delete or drop. So drop table, table name. This query will work. Even if I run this also, it will throw an error. So if I run this, 0 rows affected, but if you see here, that table is gone. The KSR table which we have created, we have dropped that table. So drop means what? The structure of the table will be dropped. So if there is no table, there will be no records in that, right? So neither you cannot, if I run that select statement, nothing will display now. It will throw an error. There is no table, doesn't exist. There is no table with this name. There is no table with this name. Now, delete is for inside records. Drop is for complete structure. But along with this, there is one more statement called as truncate. Now, truncate is also It is also data definition language. It is also data definition language command, but there is a difference between drop and truncate. So in truncate, as I've said, it's a DDL statement. You have to mention truncate table, and I'll mention KSR table. So anyways, there is no table with this name. I'll again go back and let me try to create a table and insert few records. I'll run both create statement as well as insert statement together. So the table is created, records are inserted, and I'll use a select statement now. Done. So we have seen what is drop. Drop means it will delete the, it will remove the structure itself. But what is truncate? Let me run this query. Table is truncated. Now I'll just use a select statement here. So if I'm using a select statement, the table is still present. Only the records inside that table have been truncated. Only the records inside that table have been truncated. So what does it signify? What does this truncate mean? Truncate is equivalent to where? Delete. It is equivalent to delete condition. If you're using a delete, right? Delete from table, everything will be deleted. But here, truncate table, and this is a data definition. This is not a data manipulation language. This is a data definition language, truncate. So if you're truncating anything, all the records from the table will be truncated. But there is a primary difference between truncate and delete. Like, what is that difference? If there are two tables, or maybe let's consider the same table in both conditions, how it will work in delete and how it will work in truncate. So in both the tables or that same table, this table has some 10,000 records, 10K. Same, this table also has some 10K records. So if you use a delete statement on this left side is deleted. So I have written a delete statement, delete from table. I'm not using any where condition. I'm directly writing delete from table. And in the second same table condition, I'm writing truncate from table. I want to truncate everything from table. What delete will do, it will go to each record which is present in that table and it will delete one by one. Delete will work on one by one. So if there are 10,000 records, assuming that one record or 10 records will take 1 second to get deleted. There are 10,000. 10,000 divided by 10. It will take 1,000 seconds. Delete will take 1,000 seconds to delete all the 10K records. Now, this is just a mere example I'm trying to say. If 10 records are getting deleted in 1 second, how many records, how much time it will take to delete all that 10,000 records? It will take 1,000 seconds. But in case of truncate, what truncate will do, truncate will never go to each and every record or row present in the table. It will blindly delete everything from the table. It will not go row by row. It will delete everything from the table. So truncate might take only 10 seconds to get complete table truncated. So this is the primary difference between delete and truncate. Both will work same. Both of them will remove all the records. But truncate, irrespective of how many records are there, it will not check that count or it will not go row by row. Everything from the table will be truncated. Whereas delete, it will go row by row. Everything it will go and try to delete. So delete is slower. It is way more slower if you compare it with truncate. Truncate is faster. Interview question. Most commonly asked interview question and one of the most confusing question with respect to SQL. What is delete? What is truncate? People get confused that truncate, most of the times people say truncate is DML because it is not even if you truncate, it is not changing the structure of a table, right? Only records in that table are getting changed. So most of the times people call it's a DML. If it's a DML statement, as I've said, DML statements doesn't require any condition to be mentioned that what is that component, right? If you write a DDL statement only, you mention table. If you write a DDL statement only, you mention table. You mention which database have you created. But if it's a DML statement, you directly write insert into that component which is already created. So truncate is a DDL statement. It is not DML. By chance, if you anywhere heard that it's a DML, no, it's not a DML, it's a DDL. Now I'll take a pause. Any questions on delete versus truncate?
Ritesh, both delete and truncate is like DDL only, no?
Think, is delete a DDL? Are we writing delete from table, then KSR table, the name of the table? We are directly writing delete from table. Table means the name of the table directly. It's a DML. Delete is DML. Truncate looks like DML only, but it is not DML, it is DDL statement. Wherever you mention the component, right? Table is a component. Database is a component. So wherever you are mentioning the name of a component and then whatever name you have given to that component, that is a DDL statement. Again, any questions on comparison between delete and truncate? It is not DML, it is always a DDL. You might have heard it is DML at some point of time. It is always a DDL. And one of the most commonly asked interview question, as I've said. Now let's try to compare three conditions. Anyways, we have seen two, right? Delete and truncate, but delete and truncate are almost similar. It performs that same behavior, right? So if you're deleting anything or if you're truncating anything, records are getting changed inside a table, but table structure remains same. Table structure is the same. It is not doing anything with the table. But if you compare delete, if you compare truncate, and let's compare it with drop as well. So delete, truncate, and drop. Delete is slower because it goes through each and every record. Truncate is faster because it blindly deletes all the records. Now drop is what? Drop is deleting the table. I mean, it is removing the table itself. This is the fastest. It is faster than truncate because truncate will delete the records. Drop will drop the table itself. So if there is no table, there are no records. Everything will be dropped. So if delete is taking 1 minute, truncate will take maybe 15 seconds or 10 seconds only. Almost 90% reduction, drop. But in case of truncate and drop also, drop will take 1 second. And this is just a mere comparison I'm trying to do. We have only inserted 3 or 4 records. That's the reason you might not feel any difference between delete, truncate, and drop. But if there are thousands, millions of records, in that case, delete will take some minutes also at some point of time. But truncate will take only few seconds to delete. And if you're doing it with drop will always work within 1 second or 1 to 5 seconds maximum. So there is again a drop of almost 70 to 80% drop. That means time is efficient, but there is a difference, right? Drop will remove the structure itself. In case of truncate, structure will still be there. Now delete is DML, truncate is DDL, and drop is also DDL. So if you're using a delete, the table schema will remain as it is because you're not deleting a table, right? You're deleting the records. If you're using a truncate, still table schema will be present. But if you're using a drop schema itself, that means the table itself is getting dropped. So there is no skeleton of a table. There is no skeleton of a table. Again, a pause for a few seconds. Any questions on these three discussions or these three conditions?
Sir, does drop also has a restricted usage? And what if someone drops the table? Can it be
Yes.
recovered again?
See, one thing, if you drop anything, if you use any DDL statement, it will not be recovered. If you use any DML statement, there is a option available to recover it. But DDL, no. And if you don't even get a delete access, we cannot even think of getting drop access. If there is no DML access, restricted DML access only, in that case, there will be no drop access. See, if you're changing the structure, you cannot. One question, simple comparison. If you're constructing a house, you've constructed a house, it's a 3-floor building. You have completely demolished this house. The question is, if you want to rebuild, maybe it will be not be as it is, right? You again have to rebuild. Okay, if you want to change anything inside this house, maybe I want to drop some wall, or maybe I have to remove some wall and get some additional room added, you can do that. Again, if you want to change the structure with the previous, like I have a floor plan like this, I have a 2 rooms here and there is a balcony here. So I want to drop this balcony, I want to get a very big hall here. You can do that. But again, if you want to come back to the balcony again, you can drop this, you can come back. So it's a DML. You're not changing the house, you're not demolishing the house. Inside the house, you're changing some components. So wherever there is a DML condition, you can recall it, you can change it to previous method. But DDL, very, very rare. It's not available. You can blindly think that way. So DDL includes, we'll keep it anyways, create. It includes truncate. It includes drop. For now, we've discussed this. DML includes insert. For now, we have only discussed insert and delete. And DQL has select and use. Now, I'll only take few more minutes to give some additional components or additional options which are available inside DML and DDL, like additional features. Now, we have seen delete, we have seen drop. Now, if I want to change some record, right? Already there are some records. So again, I have to go back and insert these records. Records are inserted. I'll just use a select statement. The records are available. So what I want to do is, see, if you see here, for Ritesh and for Mahesh, the date of birth is 2001, 2001. Same, 2111. I mean, date of birth can be same for different people. There is a possibility. But what I want is, I want to change the IDs. IDs are same for every name, right? For every record, the IDs are same. But I don't want, right? Okay, I've inserted it wrong. The question is, do we delete it again and do we write again the insert statements with the updated values? This is not good, right? You cannot delete every time and you cannot insert the records with the updated values. You can directly update it. There is a statement for it. So there is a command called as update. So what is update? It will update the values. So what I want to update this particular table and I want to change the IDs for certain values. Like I want to change the ID for Ritesh. Let KSR and Data Vision have the same IDs. Maybe I'll change it again if it required. But I want to change the ID for Ritesh, the name Ritesh. In that case, see, let's first understand how am I writing this, and I'll again explain it. So I want to set ID equal to where and I'll run this update statement. One row affected, and I'll use a select statement. So what have I done? I want to update this table. I'm not mentioning any table. I'm not mentioning which component. I'm directly mentioning there is already a table with this name. So if you think, what will be this command? Is it a DDL or is it a DML?
DML.
Because we are not changing any structure of a table. We are changing the records inside the table. It's very easy to identify which is DML and DDL. DDL will always have this component called table, database, stored procedure, function, view. Wherever you mention that are all DDL statements. Wherever there is no component mentioned directly, name of a component, it's a DML statement. Now, what am I doing is I am trying to update in this table and I want to set ID. That means I want to update ID 456. But where would you like to update? If I directly mention this statement, all the records will be updated with 456. But I don't want, right? Even to use this update command, you have to run this set SQL safe updates equal to 0. That's what it is trying to do, right? I want to update something. I want to delete something. In that case, you have to run that command, keep it to 0. 0 means off. By default, it will be on. You can keep it to 0. And only then you can be, you can able to run this update statement or delete statement. So I want to update where name is equal to Ritesh. So only for that record it is updated. If I haven't written this where condition, for all the records, it would have been updated. So delete without where condition and update without where condition are dangerous. You have to always, and whenever you're using a delete and update, by chance you're working in a project and you have full access. Usually it's very rare, but if you have full authority, in that case, never ever use delete and update without where condition. It might take your job as well. Because if you're deleting anything, if you're updating anything, though there is an option to recall it, why to do that? So update and delete without where condition is very dangerous. You have to go with that where condition. So how update works? Very easy. I want to update something with a filter condition only for this record. I want to set ID equal to 456. Now I can do it for the other records as well, right? I'll copy this. Let me paste here. Set ID equal to 789 where name is equal to Mahesh. So if I run this, it would be updated for Mahesh as well. I can do it same for the data vision. Now, why is it giving the red color mark? Red color mark, most of the times what we assume it's an error. No, it's not an error. We haven't closed this first statement. So if you use a semicolon, that error will go away. If you use a semicolon, that error will go away. If you use a semicolon, so always keep a habit of mentioning the semicolon at the end of every statement. Statement or complete logic, right? I have written this complete logic. Post that I'm writing a new update statement. So this update is completed here. Now the errors are gone. So I'll mention it as and I'll run this last query as well. So if I use a select statement for all the records, the IDs are different. So this is how update will work. Now update has many other use cases. It's not only that you can update only one value. You can update 2 or 3 values with the help of AND condition also. With 2 filters and 2 values also you can update. So that's a complex statement. It's not that easy. You have to understand basics first. So let's first understand the basics. Now update is a DML. What I want is, if I go back, if I refresh this, if I go back and check the table has 3 columns: name, ID, date of birth. So we have created this table, so we know what all is present in, I mean, what is the data type of that column. Like name has a character data type. Ideally, it should be varchar, because if it is a character, it will take that white spaces. That's what we discussed. And if it's an ID, it's an integer. If it's a date of birth, it is date. Now for date, we have seen how do we insert any specific date in which specific format. But as I've said, every data type has sub data types in it. Like character has varchar. In MySQL, it is varchar. If you go to Oracle, it is varchar2. Or if you go to SQL Server, it is nvarchar. nvarchar. So there are different sub options, like sub data types available inside every data type. Like for integer is also not the only numeric data type. There are many numeric data types which are available. So let's try to understand what all different numeric data types are available. Just a moment. So if you see, there are 5 different integer data types. Now, are these the only integer data types? No, these are only straightforward integer data types. There are, in numeric, there is a decimal also. Even decimal is also available. In decimal also, there are sub data types. Let's only understand these are straightforward numeric values without any decimal conditions. What is decimal? Decimal means pointers. Like 10 is there, 10 is a numeric value. But 10 is an integer numeric. But 10.1 is a decimal numeric. There is a pointer. So there are different decimal data types also, and there are different normal integer data types also. So what is that primary difference? See, there are 5. One is tiny int, one is small int, the other one is medium int, then the normal int, and the big int. Now, how do we understand the primary difference, right? Primary differences are understood via what kind of storage that data type can take. Tiny int can take 1, so it can take a value from -128 to +127. Small int can take from -32,768 to +32,767. So this is the range. This is the least range and this is the maximum range. And these are the total number of values it can take. Like if you add this with the same number, it will give you this particular number. So if I'm taking integer can take 4 bytes of information and it can take a value from this minus value to this specific value. That means it's a very big, right? Integer, it can take a very big value also, which is not required for us. So if you declare integer, it is just a simply waste of space, right? Integer can take a very big value. Why to use that much big value, that much big data type? For ID, I'm only mentioning 1, 2, 3, 9, 8, 7, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So can I take tiny int? But even tiny int, it can take from -128 to +127. If it is even 128 or 129, it will not take that value. Tiny int has certain limitations, right? Minimum value is, I mean, it can take from minus 128 to plus 127. And numeric values can be negative or positive also, right? Negative means minus, positive means there is no value given to it. It's rather straightforward 127, 125. So for numerics, there are plain numerics. I'm not talking about decimals. There are 5 different data types. Now, the big question is, where do we use, or what is the best data type for which condition? So if you're considering that way, wherever there is a age, if you write a age, right, you can blindly go with tiny int. Because usually the age of a person is, I mean, rarely there are people with 120, 115, 105 age. Our normal human life cycle has 0 to 100, right? So wherever there is an age column, you can blindly go with this tiny int. Now, wherever there is a mobile number is a 10-digit value, right? Only big int can take 10-digit value, neither integer. There is no option, right? Integer cannot take 10 digits also. Even if it takes like 3, 3, 3, 9, and it is taking 10th digit, accepted. But maximum it can take until this value. Usually mobile numbers doesn't start with 2, right? It starts with 6, 7, 8, 9. So if you mention mobile number, it will not take in integer. It has to be big int. So mobile number is a part of big int. Age, wherever there is an age, you can go with tiny int. Now there are the other 3. Where do we take them? If a company has less than 10,000 or less than 30,000, correct, I mean, number of employees, you can give employee ID with this small int. Because small int can take maximum 32,767. So these are maximum values. Remember the maximum values. Is it that you have to mug up these values? You have to, right? Do we have to remember always? No, it's not compulsory. But remember, okay, tiny int can take up to 127. Small int can take up to some 32,767. Big int can take any big value. Integer, there is a limitation. It can take up to 10 digits, but some 214 it will take. So you remember first few digits. And medium int can take somewhere around 838. So it can take up around 83 lakhs, 88,607. So you can easily decide where to take what integer data type. So our use case, if I just go back, we have written 1, 2, 3, 9, 8, 7, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. This is not available in tiny int. 1, 2, 3 can be part of tiny int, but 9, 8, 7, no. 4, 5, 6, no, because these are above 127, right? So it has to be small int. Small int can take up to 32,767. So rather than taking integer, I can take it as small int. Now the question is, the table is already created. The table is already created. How do I change it? How do I change it? In order to change the structure of a table, if you can update records in a table, you can also update the structure of a table. But update is a DML statement. For changing the structure of a table, it should be a DDL statement. So there is a command called as alter. Now, if it's a DDL statement, what you are altering? I am altering table. And what is the name of a table? KSR table. And I want to alter what? I want to alter what? Alter means you are changing the structure of a table. I want to alter the data type of ID column, which I have taken integer, which is not, I mean, it's a very big waste of storage. I will take it to small int. So how to alter this? Alter table name, and I want to modify column. You have to give a idea to that alter statement that I want to modify column ID and I want to change it to small int rather than normal integer value. I want to change it to small int. This is a data definition language. And if I run this, see the data type of ID is integer. How you can, again, anyways, we have written that, but if you want to really verify it, see, you just hover on the table and there is this information icon. Click on this information icon. And in this information icon, you will be by default opened a new window. You will be in the info tab. Go to columns tab. In the column tab, you can check the data type. Data type is integer. So if I run this alter statement, alter statement done, and I'll refresh this. I'll go to this particular window. The question is this window, you have to refresh it. You see it has changed to small int. Now, if I just go back and I'm inserting a record, let's try to check whether small int will only take that maximum record value or it can take more than that. Right? So there is a limit for small int. It can take up till 32,767. So I'll take 32,768 and I'll insert. Ideally, it is correct, but the size is greater than that data type. Out of range value for column ID. ID column is going out of range, so it will not get inserted. So if I take 767, it will be inserted. It will be inserted. See, it is getting inserted. So if I run this, that value will be there. That's how integer data types works. Tiny int for age, big int for mobile numbers, and in between values you can justify depending on the size of the data, like small int, medium int, or normal int. And how to change the structure of a table using alter statement. Now, alter statement has many use cases. Here I've just modified the data type. If you want to rename the column from ID, I should rename it to some roll number. I want to give it a roll number. Roll number is what? I'm updating the structure. I'm changing the column name, right? So I can alter table, whatever table name is it. And I want to rename. What you want to rename? I want to rename column. Which column you want to rename? I want to rename column ID to roll number. Whatever column you want to rename, you can rename it to roll number. Now, if you are not mentioning any data type, it will take whichever data type is you have mentioned for this ID. By default, it will take that. So if I run this, and if I run a select statement now, the ID column will be renamed to roll number. So alter, you're changing the structure of a table. That means you're renaming a column. You're changing the data type. If you want to add a new column to the existing table, also you can add using alter. So alter is a data definition language. Let me scroll above. Alter. And we have seen update. Update is for records. Alter is for table. DML and DDL. Now in 2 days only, we have seen so many commands, right? In 2 days only, we have seen so many commands. And if you know these commands, if you know basics of SQL, again, I'm trying to say in whichever, see, I try to take most of the interviews. I have that habit of taking multiple interviews also. Very basic terminology, which I've seen in every individual is, they don't even know basics of this DML, DDL, and DQL. There itself, they get rejected. So make sure your basics are all clear. Now, again, I'll switch back to whatever we were discussing with this integer. Any questions on this integer data type differences? Think, any questions? Okay. Silence, I'm taking it as no. Fair. That means whatever we discussed, everyone understood this. Now, whatever we have covered today, sufficient, right? Let's not maybe have it more. Go back, recall all the commands which we discussed with respect to DDL, DML, and DQL. Now, there are many other data types which we have to discuss, like for character and varchar, this is the primary difference. There is a length also. The difference in length is also there. But usually what happens is the primary difference is chars will take white spaces, trailing white spaces. Now, this is the primary difference between drop, delete, and truncate. Now, there are different data types for date also. If you're considering date, in date also there are different data types, and in decimal also there are different data types. We will discuss all this in further sessions. Fair. So let me again just go back. Just a brief highlight about the course. Total duration of this course is 4 months. We started in the month of Jan. It would be somewhere in between second week of May we will complete. Like Feb, March, April, and May. 4 months. So it's not complete Jan, neither complete May. We started in first week or end of first week of Jan, probably end of first week of May also we can complete. There are 3 different sections. One is SQL, the other one is Power BI and reporting. And the last leg is your Azure or cloud. 22 sessions minimum, 35 sessions minimum, and again 22 sessions minimum. 1 month, 2 months, and 1 month. So overall 4 months. Same
And what about
timing,
Fabric?
8 to 9:30. Fabric, I'm not sure if you are attending it for very first time. As I've said, Fabric is a part of Power BI. It is part and parcel of Power BI. It would be discussed with this only.
Okay, okay.
So 8 to 9:30 a.m. Monday to Friday sessions. In Azure, more specifically, our emphasis would be on ADF, storage account, SQL databases, and some other dependent services like Key Vault. There are some other dependent services also. Service principal is there. DLs are there. Security lists are there. So all that we will be discussing with basics of what is a Databricks, how Databricks works, how Power Automate or Logic App, both are similar, works. We are not discussing any Power Platform services except Power Automate, that too very limited in the Azure sessions. It's not Power Automate codes, right? So Power Automate or Power Platform, they have, I mean, KSR has a separate course. So that has a complete different discussion, complete different way of teaching, right? Now, Monday to Friday, 8 to 9:30 a.m. in the morning. Are there, I mean, as I've said, even if you are attending it from the last 3 or 4 days, you might have got an idea from Mahesh as well that there are many additional sessions which would be conducted on weekends or in between weekdays, like domain sessions, that how a particular domain works, like healthcare domain, retail domain, or any other domain like finance domain, what kind of questions, what kind of KPIs would be there in the reporting. So all that domain sessions would be conducted. Sometimes I conduct, sometimes other trainers conduct, right? We have many other trainers also. Along with that, there are placement cell sessions. Placement cell doesn't mean that we will give you placement, we will help you how to get into a company. We will also push you that if there are some openings, we will also share your resumes. So that placement related helps would be assured. Along with that, there will be sessions conducted on agile project way of working, or how a project works in agile. Usually these are all weekend sessions on Saturdays, Sundays. If not in SQL, probably when we start with Power BI, all these sessions will start popping in, right? So there would be resume preparation, there would be LinkedIn account preparation sessions. So all these would be conducted additionally. Now this is all about this course. I'll take a pause. We still have 11 minutes. If you have any other questions to discuss or ask, I'm open for it.
Ritesh, I'm Srihari. You know, right? I joined in Power BI course.
Hmm.
Actually, like, how to join this SQL and which
You will be
batch should
added,
I?
Sri. You need not worry, you will be added. You just
I'll be
have to,
added.
yeah, you just message, you have Satish contact or Manish contact.
I have both. I have Satish contact, I guess.
Okay, go with Satish, ask him to add you to this specific course. You will be automatically added from Monday sessions.
Okay, thanks, Ritesh. Yeah.
So if anyone wants to make a payment, there are two ways. One is your KSR website, and the other one is direct making a payment. Direct in the sense bank transfer or Google Pay, UPI, whichever payment you would like to have. The KSR team will share their details and you can do the offline payment. Offline doesn't mean cash. It is online only, but you have to make payment offline. That's how it works. Right. So how do I enroll? You just have to go to courses. Now, until now, you might be seeing all the free sessions. So from the free sessions, you just go to paid sessions, scroll down whichever course, I mean, whichever in the sense, this particular course, just click on it. You just have to click on buy now. You'll get the list of options. So choose the best option, whichever is visible to you, and just make a payment. A payment gateway would open here. Now, this is all online without any help. But usually what I suggest, always reach out to team before making any specific payment. Fair? Any other questions which you would like to have or discuss?
Yeah, hi Ritesh.
Hey.
This Saturday, Sundays lecture are available
No, it
in
would be again
recordings.
direct. Yeah, you can go through recordings. Okay, fair.
Okay.
See, whatever we are discussing, as I've said, all the sessions are recorded. You can go back and check all the recordings. You can always go back and check all the recordings.
Okay.
At any point of time you want, you can check the recordings. There is a KSR mobile app as well. From Play Store, if you want to download, you can download. Go to Play Store, go to iOS Store. You will get that KSR Data Vision app. You can download. Yes, app and data, I mean the desktop or laptop
Version.
access, both are
Okay.
same. You can check the app as well. It's almost same.
Okay.
Rajat, I have one question there regarding the payment only. That's
Mhm.
in the starting only you told, no, then if we are doing the payment in a one shot, not through the credit card. If I'm doing the payment from directly from Phone Pay or a Google UPI payment, then we can do
Mhm.
the 27K, right?
So, see, for the payment related help, please reach out to our team. They would give you the best guidance because and at some point of time, I stuck. There are some new updates to the website. That's the reason I always ask you to reach out to the team. That's where they'll give you more idea. And I'm also sharing all the previous session links as well. Just a moment. So I've shared it in the chat, all the previous session links. So I have few questions. Okay. Once we complete this course and gain the experience, okay, has three around us, okay, including your percentage. Okay. See, the question here is most of you might have a question that what would be the hike which you can expect. Say that there are different ways to judge or there are different ways to analyze it. Basic discussion or basic comparison, how it does. Assuming that if you complete this course, I'll take two examples. If anyone is into IT only, for them it's very straightforward. If anyone is from non-IT or maybe they have completed engineering but they're working in not IT, they're working in different field or they're working in IT field but different stack. So all these clubbed together, if you have 4 years of experience or if you have 8 years of experience, with this course we can show minimum 3 years of experience, minimum. Now, if there is a candidate A who is a very good candidate, good in the sense no candidate is good, no candidate is bad. The question is, this candidate is very proactive. That means he's able to try, he's able to write his own queries, and his efforts are more. So, this candidate with 4 years of experience, we can show all 4 years into Power BI also. But as I've said, minimum three. There is a candidate B who is not that proactive. He's going through sessions, but he's not practicing a lot. For this candidate, even if he has 4 years of experience, B also has 4 years of experience. In that case, we never ask him to show all 4 years because he's not that proactive right now. How do I judge whether he's proactive or not? It is you have to decide whether am I really good. If 4 years of experience are mentioned, can I clear that interview or not? We will help you to get right. So I've seen people with 8 or 9 years of experience, they are not that proactive. We only mention 3 years. But if you are really practicing from your end, we can show almost 4, 5, 6 years of experience also with this course. But as I've said, you should try, you should judge yourself on basis of what we can help you with. Now, how CTCs are bifurcated. Current market. I'm talking about market. See, there is a hard pause for Power BI. That's what it is said, right? Hard pause in the sense if the package is going beyond 35 lakhs, there is no option for Power BI. It is not that case. See, if it's only Power BI, if you're only learning Power BI and you have basic idea about SQL and some cloud, then it will be 35 is also a very big package, right? But if you know some additional concepts, your package will be still, you can go to 40 also. We have seen people going to 40 as well. But what is the criteria? How do we identify which package you can get? Experience into minimum 3.5 minimum. Like if you have 3 years of experience, 3 into 3 is 9.5. 10.5 LPA for 3 years of experience. This is minimum you can expect. Minimum. There is a difference between minimum and maximum. Maximum, it is how that company gives. How do you deal? How do you communicate with the HR? So this is minimum which you can expect. Like if you have 5 years, 5 into 3.5. Now, it is always recommended to calculate yourself that are you within this bracket or are you above the bracket? Why? The current market is unstable. Unstable in the sense what? I have seen people who get 40 LPA, 35 LPA with 7 years of experience, 8 years of experience. I've seen people. 8 is fine, 9 is fine, 10 is fine, but with 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, there are people who get some 30 plus LPA. In that case, they are in risk. If something goes wrong with that project, or if the company wants to minimize the count, or maybe they want to save some amount, you will be always at the high risk. So if your package, like you have 7 years of experience and your package is 35, or even if your package is 30, anything greater than 4.5 or 5 is you are at the risk. You can get it, but you will be the first person to get removed if your project is in the risk. So we have to consider that risk factor also. Right. In this current market, I'm talking about, if you have considered 22, 21, in post-COVID market, they were giving you into 6 times, into 7 times of your experience also, which again, the people got rationalized. It came back to 3.5, 4, 4.5. Even if it is into 5 times, you are at certain risk. Unless if it's a very niche skill, niche in the sense, some data engineering concepts as well, you can easily adapt the business analytical concepts, you are safe. So how do you evolve in this market? That also matters. And for this specific course, I'll always say, for all the batches I've been trying to say, keep a target of 100 days. Even if I say this, for sure, in every batch, in the last batch, I got somewhere around 77 admissions. In 77 admissions, I can only name 10 to 15 people who were proactive till the end, till the last session. And I know all 15 of them. 15 or 20, I can maximum say 20. The other 60% of the people, they might have gone through sessions, but I cannot judge them very easily, because at some point of time you get bored. Bored in the sense what? You are busy with your work. That shouldn't happen. You keep a target. Even if you're not attending sessions, but you're going through recordings, there are people who reach out to me with some questions in the groups. We always have a WhatsApp group created, right? So you can always have that questions. So even if you're not going through sessions, or somewhere for 2 weeks, you are out of the, you're doing with some other work, you're busy with some other work, always keep a habit of this, going through sessions, practicing yourself. Take 1 hour daily, not even more than 1 hour. If you practice for 1 hour for next 100 days, for sure you will get into good job. 1 hour, I'm not even saying more than 1 hour. But that 1 hour should be completely dedicated. You are physically practicing, but mentally you're thinking about different thing, though it will not work. 1 hour of session and 1 hour of your practice, daily 2 hours, more than enough. I guess there is some more question. That's fine.
Hi Ritesh, this is Tej here. So
Maybe.
we will be in the future. Are we going to conduct mock interviews also, like once the sequel gets completed, or
See, most of the common questions, how many projects I cover, how many mock interviews. For us, there is a tool called as that AI Interview Hub. You can give that mock interview there. 3 interviews are anyways free. Apart from that, if you want additional, right, there are 90% discounts given to you, 95%. I've shared you some insights today in this session, right? How an interview question can be asked. In almost every session, I share this interview aspects, like difference between delete, truncate, and drop, or char and varchar, which integer data type we can use. So at every step or every session, I have that interview questions shared with you. Now, mock interviews in the sense, good, I can take mock interviews. The question is, if there are 70 people, Every day, all 71, I mean, let's not consider all 70, if 10 or 15 people are reaching out to us. Minimum in all the batches, if you consider, there will be 50, 60 people reaching out to us. So if with our effort also, we cannot take every interview, right? We can judge you, okay, on basis of what you can improve. AI Interview Hub is developed for these people only who can give mock interviews there. Questions are shared. Enough questions are shared. Questions shared means that doesn't mean if I'm explaining like this will be a question. No, we have PDFs, we have Word documents which are shared along with all the questions. Any other
Okay,
questions?
makes sense. Yeah, thanks, Ritesh.
Sir, like I'm a fresher and I don't have any prior experience. How
Mhm.
much I can expect after these 4 months?
Good. Keep a target. You can expect somewhere around 4 also, you can be given somewhere around 8 also. The question is, how do you enter this market? For a fresher, take it in return, not only for IT. If you are entering any specific field as a fresher, it needs 20-25 percentage additional effort than an experienced person. Why? Because you have to prove yourself that I am better and I am a good developer. So expectation, see, there are companies which will give you 3.5, there are companies which will give you 4.5, and there are companies which will give you 8. Now, how do you clear interviews? That is all up to you. Because you are fresher, we cannot justify. As I've said, experience into 3.5, 0 into 3.5 is 0. So we cannot say it as 0. It starts with 3.5, it can go up to 8 also. Up to. There are companies which will give you 6, 7, 8, but they'll expect you to be a good candidate, right? Any other questions?
Sir, like I have a basic knowledge of Python, Power BI also I'm making dashboards, and SQL also
Good.
I'm little proficient. So can I start giving interviews from uh, this time?
Let me ask a question. If you can able to answer that question,
Yes,
see,
sir.
there are different ways. How do I judge or how do we interview people, right? We will never ask a person to write a query. If you are able to write a query, that's fine. But query writing can be also, I mean, you can check your query with some Google or any AI. But whether you are logically correct, your logic building is correct or not, that's what is primary. So if you start giving interviews, have you given any interviews prior to this?
No, sir.
So I would always suggest you to wait for next 2 months, minimum 2 months. Post that, you can start with basic interviews. There is a lot of basics you have to go through it. Maybe you might know, but I'll again say, at some point of time, you will again get some more idea if you go through the sessions.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Any other questions? Satish, you can go ahead, I guess. You want to explain something.
Yeah, hi team. Thank you for participating in our 5 free classes. Actually, today is our last free session. Okay, from Monday will be the paid sessions. Who are interested to enroll for this, please reach out to our team. And for anyone who have like related doubts, like for hesitating asking the group session, our team will ready to connect with you one to one, and they will guide you and what your requirement like that. And I heard like one pressure also is there, and he will connect with me and I'll guide you properly, like how it will work in the future and how it will you will get the calls like that.
Fair. It's 9:37. We still have few more minutes. I'll stay here for 9:40. Next 3 minutes. If you still have any questions, random questions also, please feel free to ask.
Yeah, thank you, Ritesh.
Okay, thank you. Okay. No questions from anyone?
Yeah, Bhargavi this side.
Hey, bye.
And
Yeah.
yeah, if you want to make a payment on Sunday or Saturday,
Okay.
can we reach
Saturday,
out to the team?
yeah, Saturday team is there. Sunday, I'm not sure if the complete team is working, but to be frank,
Okay.
someone would respond. Yeah, Satish, go ahead.
Okay.
I guess you can pick up the calls, it seems.
Hi team, like our team will be available by 24/7. You guys can ping to our team anytime. Okay, our team will connect within, like in Sunday time, it will take some time, but they will sure connect with you.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Our team will work on it.
Okay, it's 9:39. If you have no questions, we can wind up for today. Yep. Thank you, everyone. Have a good weekend ahead. Let's try to connect back on Monday with our normal sessions, like continuity of the sessions what we have closed today. Thank you, everyone. Have a good weekend, and let's again connect back.
Thank you, Ritesh.
Thank
Happy
you,
weekend.
everyone.
Thanks, Ritesh.